Listen, and listen closely. You are not living your life. You are performing it. Every single day, from the moment you step out your door, you are stepping onto a hidden, shimmering battlefield. This isn't about physical combat. This is the psychological arena. A silent, brutal coliseum where status is the trophy, perception is the weapon, and most people are willingly walking into the lion's den wearing a suit made of raw meat. You think you're being seen? You're being assessed. You think you're being heard? You're being cataloged. Every word, every complaint, every flash of anger, every eager confession of your dreams, it's all data. Data that the world uses to decide, is this person a player or are they prey? Is this person a sovereign mind or are they a servant begging for a scrap of validation from the crowd? The terrifying, liberating truth is this. You have been designing your own prison. You have been handing your opponents the blueprints to your own mind. For years, you've operated under a catastrophic delusion. You believed that transparency was a virtue. You thought that being an open book made you trustworthy. You were convinced that wearing your heart on your sleeve made you authentic, human, real. It made you vulnerable. It made you weak. It made you predictable. Centuries ago, a man named Niccolo Machiavelli, a strategist of pure, uncut reality, laid it bare. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Let that detonate in your mind. The chasm between your appearance and your reality is not a lie. It is your domain of power. It is the fortress wall. And you have been leaving the gates wide open, hanging a sign that says, "Come in, I'm friendly." This ends today, right now. We are going to perform radical surgery on your public persona. We are going to stitch shut every leak, seal every crack, and fortify every wall. By the time we are finished, you will understand, in your bones, why silence is the most deafening sound in any room. You will learn to move through the chaos of the modern world not as a participant, but as a ghost, unseen when you choose to be, untouchable in your resolve, unreadable in your intentions, and undeniably powerful in your presence. But first, the most difficult admission. You must look in the mirror and speak this truth. Your desperate, clawing need to be seen, to be validated, to be understood, is the very engine of your own disappearance. It is making you fade into the background noise of human desperation. It is turning you into static. We are going to replace that needy signal with a formidable, impenetrable broadcast of sheer will. The ancient Stoics, the Renaissance strategists, the emperors, and the generals, they agreed on one non-negotiable principle. The mind must be a fortress. But a fortress with its gates swung open, its walls covered in your deepest feelings, its storehouses broadcasting its contents. That is not a fortress. That is a ruin, a tourist attraction, a place for others to picnic on your vulnerabilities. Mastering what follows is not about becoming a sociopath. It is the opposite. It is about becoming sovereign. It is about the fundamental, primal difference between a king and a court jester. The king commands the room by his presence alone. He speaks sparingly. He observes endlessly. His power is in what he withholds. The jester? He begs for attention by performing. He shrieks and dances and reveals his hand, hoping for a laugh, a coin, a pat on the head. He trades his dignity for a moment of notice. Which one are you? I will warn you. The path of sovereignty is a lonely one. Once you stop the behaviors we are about to dissect, the world will recoil. Then, it will recalibrate. People will stop pitying you. They will stop using you as an emotional dumping ground. They will stop feeling comfortable taking cheap shots. They might even begin to look at you with a flicker of fear, a respectful fear, the fear one has for a force of nature. If you are not ready for the isolation that is the tax on authority, stop now. Close this. But if you are ready to reclaim your privacy, your power, and your peace, then let us begin. We are going to strip away the 9 specific, corrosive behaviors that are draining your power and painting you as a target. Some of these you do every single day. Some of them you have been brainwashed into believing are good traits, signs of a good person. They are not. They are signals of submission. They are the white flag you didn't know you were waving. The first law, the silent predator. 1. Never reveal your next move. Understand this. The most potent, most addictive drug in the modern world is not cocaine, is not OxyContin. It is validation. And the quickest, cheapest high available to the masses comes from one pathetic ritual: announcing your plans before you've executed a single meaningful step. I'm going to start a business. I'm training for a marathon. I'm writing a book. I'm leaving my job. I'm cutting off toxic people. You vomit these declarations into the world. Why? For the hit. For the momentary, sparkling dopamine rush that comes from people's positive reactions. The wow, good for you. The you're so brave. The likes, the heart emojis, the supportive comments. You are consuming the reward for the accomplishment. Without doing the accomplishment, you are tricking your own nervous system. You are having the psychological celebration for a victory that has not yet been won. This is more than weakness. This is tactical suicide. Machiavelli saw it with perfect clarity. When you reveal your intentions, you accomplish three fatal things. First, you give every enemy, every rival, every envious friend lounging in the shadows of your life the complete map to your destination. And with that map, they can lay traps. They can sabotage. They can poison the well before you even arrive. They can whisper doubts to your partners, steal your nascent ideas, or simply drain your energy with their skepticism disguised as concern. Second, you dissipate the vital, pressurized energy required to achieve the goal itself. A goal kept secret builds internal pressure. It is a boiling kettle with the lid locked on. That steam is your fuel. The moment you announce it, you blow off that steam in a satisfying whistle for everyone to hear. The pressure drops. The urgency fades. You have vented your motivation into the empty air of conversation. Third, and most damningly, you alert the competition. You stand up in the middle of the forest and shout, "I am hunting here." What do all the other hunters do? They turn. They mark your position. They either prepare to contest your game or they prepare to hunt you. The strategic command is absolute. Conceal your intentions. If people do not know what you are building, they cannot build a wall in your path. If they do not know where you are striking, they cannot reinforce their flank. Move. In. Silence. Let your results crash through the door like thunder. Let your success be the only announcement you ever make. There is a terrifying, awe-inspiring power in the individual who disappears for 6 months, for a year, from the petty gossip and performative struggles of the crowd, and returns transformed. A new body, a new business, a new level of wealth, a new, unshakable calm. No posts, no progress updates, no watch this space. Just execution, and then undeniable presence. When you broadcast your moves, you are subconsciously asking for permission. You are polling the tribe. Is this okay? Do you approve? Will you still like me? You are a child presenting a drawing to a parent. Stop asking. A lion does not roar before it stalks. It moves with silent, lethal grace. The roar comes after the kill, to claim what is already his. Your tongue is not a tool for announcing your hunt. It is a weapon to be sheathed until the moment of victory. Become a mystery. Let them whisper. Let them speculate in their group chats. What is he working on? Where does she keep going? Why is he so quiet lately? Their imaginations, fueled by their own insecurities, will construct a narrative far grander, far more intimidating than your reality could ever be. The shadow you cast by saying nothing is always larger than the man who stands in the light, explaining himself. The mystery of your potential is your single greatest asset. Do not bankrupt it for the cheap, tinny applause of people who will not be there when the work gets hard. Swallow your words. Let them fuel your discipline. The world respects what it cannot explain, and it fears what it cannot predict. The second law, the unbreakable wall. 2. Never complain about your problems. This is the most common, the most pathetic, the most self-sabotaging weakness in the entire human behavioral playbook. Complaining. It is the white noise of the loser. I'm so tired. My boss is a moron. This economy is rigged. My back hurts. Traffic was hell. My partner doesn't listen. It's not fair. Listen to me. Nobody cares. And the tiny handful who pretend to care, they are usually, on a deep, subconscious level, happy that you are suffering. Your complaint is their comfort. Your failure is their justification. Your misery confirms their worldview that it's all too hard, and allows them to settle back into their own mediocrity with a relieved sigh. You are not bonding. You are providing a service. When you complain in public, you are committing 2 devastating acts of self-destruction. First, You are publicly admitting you have lost control. You are standing on the psychological street corner with a sign that reads, "Victim of circumstance. Will whine for attention." You are signaling to every observer that you are not a force that shapes events, but a leaf, brittle and dry, blown about by the slightest wind. You are confessing your impotence. Leaders, sovereign individuals, they do not complain. They face only two options when confronted with an obstacle: change the situation or endure it with grace. There is no third option. There is no podium for pity. They analyze, they adjust, they act, or they accept with a silent, steely resolve that becomes a legend in itself. Second, you transform yourself into an energy vampire. You are dumping your psychic waste, your negative entropy, onto anyone within earshot. You are forcing them to carry a piece of your burden. They may nod. They may offer a hollow, automated "that sucks, man." But subconsciously, their entire nervous system is recoiling. They are repelled. They mark you, instantly and permanently, as low status. They associate your presence with drag, with weight, with defeat. Machiavelli observed this human truth with cold precision. People are naturally, instinctively repelled by misery. They are drawn, like moths to a flame, to strength, to vitality, to confidence, to success. If you walk through life wearing your problems like a heavy, stinking overcoat, do not be shocked. Do not you dare be offended when people cross the street to avoid you. They are following a primal instinct for self-preservation. Misery is contagious. Now, hear this clearly. This does not mean you suppress your emotions until you have a stroke. It does not mean you live in denial. It means you choose your counsel with the precision of a surgeon selecting a scalpel. You vent to a therapist, a paid professional whose job is to hold that space. You vent to a single, sworn, trusted mentor who has earned the right over decades of loyalty. You do not vent to the public. You do not vent to your coworkers over lunch. You do not vent to your casual friends. You do not bleed on social media. To the world, to the arena, you must present a facade of unflappable composure, especially when your life is burning down, especially when the pressure is at its peak. That is when your public face must be its most cool, its most calm, its most collected. This is what the Italians called sprezzatura, the art of studied carelessness, of making the incredibly difficult look effortless. If you are suffering, you will suffer with dignity. There is a profound, unspoken respect, a reverence, even, that is granted to the man or woman who carries a crushing load without buckling at the knees and without screaming for an audience. They become a symbol, a lesson in resilience. Become that person. When the world asks its empty, polite question, "How are things?" you will not unload your burdens. You will look them in the eye with a calm, faint smile that doesn't reach your eyes, and you will say, "Everything is under control. Moving forward." And then you will change the subject. You will become an island of calm in a sea of chaos. And everyone on a sinking ship looks for an island. The third law, the icy core. 3. Never lose your temper. You must engrave this distinction onto the inside of your skull. Anger is an emotion. Aggression is a tool. They are not the same. One controls you. The other is wielded by you. When you lose your temper in public, when you scream at a waiter, snap at your partner in a restaurant, erupt in road rage, slam your fist on a desk in a meeting, you are not displaying strength. You are conducting a live demonstration of your own psychological slavery. You are proving, to everyone watching, that you are easily hijacked, that your nervous system is a public utility, available for any random stranger to tap into and overload with the slightest provocation. If a person you've never met can turn you into a red-faced, sputtering, primitive child just by cutting you off in traffic, you are not free. You are a puppet, and the world now sees your strings. Machiavelli advised a ruler to be feared, if necessary, but to avoid being hated at all costs. And nothing generates contempt and hatred faster than a grown adult who cannot regulate their own emotions. A man who cannot command himself will never command respect. A woman who is a slave to her impulses announces to the world that she is unfit for true power. When you explode, you do something catastrophically stupid. You reveal your triggers. You put on a neon sign pointing directly at your deepest insecurities. Here is what makes me lose my mind. A smart opponent, a rival, an enemy. they will file that away. They will note it down, and they will use it with surgical precision in a future conflict. They will know exactly what button to push to make you look unhinged, irrational, and dangerous. They will make you discredit yourself. Now, see the contrast. Silence is always more intimidating than screaming. Picture two bosses. One screams, turns purple, throws things. The other simply stops, goes dead quiet. The room temperature drops. He leans back. He stares. He lets the void swallow the noise. And then, in a calm, low, almost whisper, he speaks. Which one owns the room? Which one injects pure, cold fear into the heart of every person present? The screamer is a clown, a spectacle. The quiet one is a predator, a force. Your mission is to cultivate the icy core. The tactical pause. When you feel that familiar fireball of rage ignite in your chest, that is not your signal to act. That is your alarm bell. That is the moment you freeze. Do not speak. Do not move a muscle in your face. Drop your shoulders. Breathe deeply into your gut. Count the tiles on the ceiling. Let the other person, the provocateur, sit and stew in the sudden, awkward vacuum of your silence. They are braced for a fight. They are prepared for your explosion. When you deny them that explosion, you pull the ground out from under them. They are left flailing, talking to a statue, looking increasingly foolish, emotional, and weak. You look untouchable, as if their petty drama is beneath your notice. As if their attempt to trigger you was so insignificant you didn't even register it. That is power. That is control. Master your nervous system, or I promise you, the world will master it for you. And it will use you as a pawn in a game you don't even know you're playing. Your calm is not just a personality trait. It is your armor. Your silence is not just an absence of noise. It is a weapon. The fourth law, the sovereign stance. 4. Never apologize when it isn't necessary. We are drowning in a culture of pathological, compulsive apology. It is a plague of weakness. We apologize for taking up space. We apologize for asking a question. We apologize for having an opinion. We apologize for our existence. Sorry to bother you. I'm sorry, but I think. Sorry, can I just stop? An apology, when not warranted, is not politeness. It is a submission signal. It is a verbal flinch. It is you, bowing your head before a conflict has even arisen. Every unnecessary sorry is a tiny, incremental drop of your status in the unspoken hierarchy of human interaction. You are whispering to the world, I am beneath you. My presence is an imposition. Please forgive me for being here. Machiavelli knew that a leader must cultivate an aura of infallibility, not because he is perfect, but because confidence is the bedrock of authority. You are human. You will make real mistakes. You will cause real harm. For those moments, you reserve a sincere, direct, and singular apology. You deliver it once. You fix the problem. You never speak of it again. But for the daily friction of life, for simply holding your ground, you must stand firm. This is a linguistic martial art. You replace the language of submission with the language of sovereignty. Instead of, sorry I'm late, you say, thank you for your patience. You acknowledge them, you appreciate their time, but you do not beg for forgiveness for circumstances that may have been beyond your control. Instead of, sorry, but I disagree, you say, I see it differently, or my perspective is another. A statement of fact, not a plea for tolerance. Instead of, sorry, can I ask a dumb question? You say, I have a question. You own your inquiry. You do not pre-defame it. Feel the tectonic shift in energy? The first is a cringe, a shrinkage. The second is an expansion, an occupation of your rightful space. Over-apologizing makes you look weak, insecure, and pliable. It is an invitation to predators. It tells people, you can blame me. I am accustomed to accepting blame. I will apologize to make you comfortable. They will start to assign fault to you instinctively, because you have trained them to see you as the receptacle for fault. Save your apologies for when they carry the weight of truth, for when they can mend a real tear in trust. For everything else, for occupying your space, for having a voice, for moving through the world, you require no one's pardon. You are not a ghost. You are a presence. Start acting like one. The fifth law, the black box. 5. Never reveal your financial situation, high or low. Money is not just currency. It is the most exposed, most sensitive nerve in the entire human psyche. It is a direct line to our deepest fears of scarcity and our most fragile hopes for security. To speak of it carelessly is to dance on that nerve with cleats. Reveal that you are struggling, that you are poor, and you will be met with one of two reactions, both lethal to your power: pity or invisibility. In the Machiavellian view of the world, perceived poverty is not a circumstance, it is a sin. It implies a lack of competence, a lack of favor from fortune, a lack of strength. People will distance themselves from you, not out of malice, but out of a primal, superstitious fear that failure is contagious. They do not want your scent of struggle on them. You become a non-entity, a cautionary tale whispered about, not a person consulted. Now, reveal that you are winning. Reveal that you are rich. Flash the watch. Mention the bonus. Talk about the deal. Post the vacation. You have just unleashed the single most dangerous and corrosive human emotion: envy. Envy is not admiration. Admiration looks up and says, I want to rise to that. Envy looks up and snarls, I want to pull that down. Envy is the emotion that turns a friend's smile into a mask. It is the feeling that makes a colleague dream of your humiliation. It is the silent prayer for your downfall so the world feels fair again. As the ancient thinkers warned, there is no vice that so covers a man with shame as to be found poor and wanting. But there is no danger greater than outshining the master. When you flash your wealth, you are not impressing people. You are humiliating them. You are holding up a mirror to what they lack. And eventually, they will grow to hate you for it. That hatred will manifest in subtle sabotage, in malicious gossip, in attempts to take from you through guilt, manipulation, or outright theft. True wealth whispers. It is silent. It is found in the impeccable cut of a jacket that has no logo. It is in the serene confidence of not having to prove anything. It is in the quiet freedom of options that are never discussed. Your financial life must become a black box. Impenetrable. Unreadable. Let them guess. Let them wonder. If you are in a tactical retreat, if you are rebuilding, your presentation must be flawless. Clean, sharp, organized. You do not look poor. You look like a general who has chosen to consolidate his forces. You project control, not desperation. If you are ascending, if you are winning, you must project comfort, not gluttony. Ease, not ostentation. You look like someone to whom good things naturally flow, not like a lottery winner screaming at the sky. The goal is strategic ambiguity. You want the assumption to be that you are capable, that you are stable, that you are a person of substance, but you want no one to have the data to confirm it. This ambiguity is a shield. It protects you from the parasites who smell a meal and from the predators who see a rival to be crushed. Your bank account, your assets, your financial reach. These are not topics for conversation. They are components of your strategic arsenal. And you never, ever, leave your weapons lying around for public inspection. You keep them holstered, hidden, and known only to you. Let the world wonder about the size of your army. The uncertainty is what makes them cautious. The moment they know, they have a number to attack. 6. Never gossip or talk badly about others. Let me define the hierarchy of minds for you, once and forever. Great minds discuss ideas. They debate philosophy, strategy, the architecture of the future. Average minds discuss events, the news, the game, the happenings of the day. Small minds, the weakest, most brittle minds of all, discuss people. They pick over the lives, the choices, the flaws, and the misfortunes of others like vultures on roadkill. Gossip is the currency of the weak. It is the social glue for people who have nothing of value to offer. No vision, no skill, no compelling creation. It is a bonding mechanism built on mutual contempt, a shared secret that creates the illusion of intimacy. And when you engage in it, you commit a double assassination. You murder the reputation of your subject, and you sign your own death warrant as a person of substance. Think, when someone sidles up to you, lowers their voice, and says, "Did you hear about what she did?" Or, "Let me tell you what's really going on with him." In that moment, you feel a cheap thrill, a sense of inclusion. But what is your immediate, instinctual, subconscious calculation? If they are speaking to me about them, they will speak to others about me. You may smile, you may lean in, but in the deepest part of your psyche, you have just marked that person as untrustworthy. You have seen their true face. a face that needs to diminish others to feel tall. And everyone else who witnesses you gossiping does the exact same calculus about you. Machiavelli was ruthless on this point. A ruler must avoid being hated, yes, but above all, he must avoid being despised. Being seen as a petty, bored, meddlesome busybody, a spreader of rumors, a retailer of misery, makes you despicable. It marks you as low status, as someone with too much time and too little purpose. But there is a deeper, more strategic reason for this law. Information is power. When you gossip, you are giving away power for free. You are leaking priceless intelligence. You are revealing alliances, weaknesses, conflicts, and secrets. You are handing a map of the social terrain to anyone who will listen. A strategic mind, a sovereign mind, does the opposite. You must become the silent oracle, the black hole of information. You listen, you nod. You offer nothing but a neutral, impenetrable gaze. You let people confide, confess, and complain to you. You gather this data, not as ammunition, but as intelligence. You learn who is loyal, who is treacherous, who is fragile, who is ambitious. And you hold it all in absolute silence. This makes you terrifyingly powerful. People will know that you know, but they will never know what you will do with that knowledge. That uncertainty, the fear of the sleeping giant, grants you a form of control no argument can ever achieve. They will be cautious around you. They will seek your approval, not your participation in their petty dramas. And never, ever speak ill of your rivals or enemies in public. To do so is to reveal your hand. It shows you are emotionally invested, that they have gotten under your skin. It makes you look bitter, obsessed, and weak. If you must counter a rival, if you must neutralize a threat, you do not do it with words. You do it with action. You do it so efficiently, so cleanly, and so quietly that they are never quite sure it was you. They are left stumbling in the dark, blaming fate. To insult them is to acknowledge them as a worthy opponent. To destroy their position while saying nothing is to demonstrate they were never in your league to begin with. The seventh law, the embodied creed. 7. Never explain your personal philosophy. There is a sickness in the modern seeker, a compulsion to proselytize. You discover a new system, Stoicism, a fasting protocol, a political ideology, a spiritual practice, and you are seized by the missionary urge. You feel this burning need to stand at the digital or dinner table pulpit and preach. To convert, to explain, to prove, through fervent argument, that you have found the way. Crush this urge. Stomp it into the dirt. First, it is insufferably annoying. No one wants a lecture. Your unsolicited sermon is not seen as wisdom. It is seen as a judgment, a condemnation of their own choices. You create resistance, not conversion. Second, and far more dangerously, it makes you a target. The moment you publicly announce your moral code, your rigid rules, you have painted a bullseye on your back. I am a man of my word. I never get angry. I am a vegan. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I don't drink. You have just handed every observer a checklist. They will now watch you, with the gleeful patience of a hawk, waiting for you to slip. And you will slip. You are human. You will have a moment of weakness, a lapse in discipline, a necessary compromise. And when you do, they will pounce. They will point and cry, hypocrite. The joy they take in your stumble will be disproportionate, because you dared to claim a higher ground. You gave them the yardstick, and they will delight in beating you with it. Machiavelli's advice to the prince was to appear virtuous, to be seen as faithful, merciful, humane, religious, but to have the flexibility in private to do what is necessary to maintain the state. When you rigidly, verbally announce your code, you destroy that flexibility. You trap yourself in a cage of your own pronouncements. Your philosophy must be embodied, not explained. It must be lived in your cells, in your actions, in the calm of your demeanor, in the reliability of your results. You don't talk about discipline, you are disciplined. You don't preach calm, you are calm in a crisis. You don't argue for integrity, your handshake is your bond. Let your life become the question mark. Let people lean in and wonder, how does he stay so unfazed? Why is she so consistently productive? Where does that quiet confidence come from? And only when they ask, when they have demonstrated genuine curiosity, born from observing your results, do you offer a glimpse, a fragment. I find it helpful to focus on what I can control, or I protect my morning routine. Your actions should be so loud, so compelling, so magnetic that your words become an afterthought. The most powerful argument for your way of life is not your explanation of it. It is the undeniable evidence of your transformed life. A single day of focused, silent action outweighs 10,000 words of passionate philosophy. Be a living monument, not a noisy tour guide. The eighth law, the internal compass. 8. Never seek approval or validation. This is the root, the foundational cancer from which all the other weak behaviors grow. The deep, pathetic, childlike hunger for the gold star, for the good boy, for the head pat, the likes, the retweets, the "you're so amazing." It is the leash around the neck of humanity, and you have been trained since infancy to strain against it, begging for a tighter pull. We are conditioned to seek the approval of authority figures, parents, teachers, bosses, social media algorithms, the abstract they. We perform tricks. We contort our personalities. We silence our true opinions. We buy things we cannot afford, all for the treat of external validation. If you want sovereignty, if you want to be a free adult and not a performing pet, you must execute this instinct in your public life. When you check faces to see if your joke landed, when you modify your story to win sympathy, when you downplay your success to seem humble, you are doing one thing. You are handing over your leash. You are saying, "My sense of worth is external. It lives in your perception of me. Please be kind. Tell me I matter." Understand the status dynamic at play here. Validation is a transaction of hierarchy. The person seeking approval is, by the very act, adopting the lower status position. They are the petitioner, the supplicant. The person granting or withholding that approval is in the higher status position. They are the judge, the evaluator. Every time you seek validation, you are permanently cementing yourself beneath the person you're seeking it from. Now, here is the alchemical reversal. When you stop seeking approval, a magnetic shift occurs. People become unsettled, then intrigued. Your lack of need for their opinion reads as immense, unshakable confidence. They begin to wonder what you know that they don't. They start seeking your approval. They begin to modify their behavior to win your respect. You become the judge, not the petitioner. The only validation that matters is the judgment you pass on yourself in the silent courtroom of your own mind. The internal scorecard. Did you do the work you promised yourself? Did you uphold your standards when no one was watching? Did you face a fear? Did you choose the harder right over the easier wrong? Did you maintain your frame? If the answer is yes, then the applause of the crowd is a distant, irrelevant noise, a decoration you do not need. If the answer is no, then the applause of the crowd is a poisonous lie, a narcotic to dull the sting of your own self-betrayal. You must become immune to praise, immune to criticism. See them for what they are, two sides of the same manipulative coin. They are tools people use to try to control your behavior, to encourage more of what they like or less of what they dislike. If a compliment can inflate your ego, an insult can shatter it. Your self-worth must be an internally generated force, a nuclear reactor sealed deep within your fortress, powering you regardless of the weather outside. Reject both the sugar and the poison. Your diet is truth. The ninth law, the scarred armor. 9. Never reveal your vulnerabilities or pain. We live in an age that has confused confession with strength. Pop psychology screams at you to be vulnerable, to share your trauma on podcasts, to cry in public, to treat the world as your group therapy session. They call this bravery, authenticity, connection. From a strategic standpoint, from the viewpoint of maintaining power and respect, this is suicide. The world is not a therapy session. It is a hierarchy. It is an arena. When you bleed in the water, the sharks do not feel empathy. They do not shed a tear. They smell blood. And they circle. Your vulnerabilities, your past wounds, your current insecurities, your triggers, these are not bonding points. They are critical intelligence. When you reveal them publicly, you are not building connection. You are handing every potential adversary, every casual rival, every quietly envious acquaintance, the complete technical manual to your psychological destruction. You say, "I have abandonment issues from my father." The Machiavellian listener hears, to control him, threaten to withdraw. To hurt him, imply he is about to be left. You say, "I'm really insecure about my intelligence." They hear, to dismantle her, question her grasp of the facts. To dominate her, use complex jargon. You say, "That past failure still haunts me." They hear, "Here is the ghost I can resurrect," to paralyze him with doubt. You are giving them the keys to your inner dungeon and pointing to the most fragile locks. This does not mean you live in denial. You must integrate your shadow. You must face your demons. You must heal your wounds. But you do this in the forge, in the private, sacred, protected space of your own work, with a skilled therapist, with a timeless mentor, in the pages of your journal, in the silent furnace of your own disciplined mind. You do this in the dark. When you step back into the light of the public arena, you wear the armor, not the wound. This is not about being fake. It is about being protected. It is about strategic presentation. The king does not walk among the populace naked, showing his scars and his soft belly. He wears the crown and the cloak, not because he is arrogant, but because he represents order. The armor is a symbol of stability, of capability, of resilience. If you wish to lead, if you wish to be respected, you must appear. You must be whole. You cannot guide others out of the storm if you are visibly drowning in your own waves. Tend to your wounds in private. Let them heal. Let them scar over. And a scar? A scar is different. A scar is a story of a battle won. It is a testament to healing, to survival, strength. 2. You can show a scar, when strategically useful, as a lesson. I once made this error, and here is the wisdom it forged. That commands respect. Showing an open, weeping wound is a plea for help, and pleas are for the helpless. Keep your inner sanctum sacred. Not everyone deserves a tour of your history of pain. That is a privilege granted to the very, very few who have earned it through years of loyalty, discretion, and their own strength. To the world, you are a fortress. Let them wonder what treasures you guard inside. The transformation and the inner enemy. If you stop these 9 things, if you truly integrate these laws, a profound vacuum will form around you. The noise will cease. You will speak less. You will explain less. You will react less. You will simply be. At first, it will be unsettling for them and for you. People will probe. Are you okay? You're so quiet. They will poke you, trying to provoke the old, leaky, predictable, controllable version of you to reemerge. They like that you is easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to feel superior to. Hold the line. In that silence, in that absence of performance, you are not becoming empty. You are building gravity. You are becoming a black hole of quiet power. By surgically removing these 9 handles, these levers the world uses to grab you, to spin you, to upset your balance, you become smooth, untouchable, slippery. You will begin to observe with a terrifying clarity because you are no longer busy performing. You will finally see the game. You will see the strings on everyone else. You will see their desperate, thirsty seeking for approval. You will see their pathetic attempts to elevate themselves by gossiping. You will see their poorly concealed envy, their uncontrolled tempers, their leaky finances. You will see it all. And once you see the game being played all around you, you can no longer be an unwitting player. You become the one who understands the rules. You become, if you choose, the game master. But this brings us to the final, most dangerous realization. Once you seal the leaks, once you silence the public noise, once you build the fortress walls high and thick, you will be left in utter quiet, alone, with the one thing you have been using the noise of the world to drown out, your own mind. For most people, this is the most terrifying prospect of all. When the external chaos stops, the internal chaos begins. The doubts you outsourced to social media for validation will now scream in the silence. The anxieties you masked by complaining to coworkers will now swirl in the void. The insecurities you tried to soothe by seeking approval will now bare their teeth. You will have learned to shield yourself from the world. But how do you shield yourself from the enemy within? How do you rule the kingdom of your own mind when the gates are closed and it's just you, alone, in the throne room? This is the true battle. The only battle that ultimately matters. A fortress is useless. It is a glittering prison. If the king inside is mad, weak, or enslaved by his own thoughts, all the power you have cultivated by these 9 laws will turn against you, magnifying your internal turmoil 1,000-fold. The external fortress is just the prelude. The perimeter wall. The real